welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Antonia, and today is my Theory Thursday video. So I'm going to be talking about, I guess you could call it a conspiracy theory, but it is about past lives. I'm currently really sick right now, so if my voice sounds a little nasally or a little funny, that is why. I am trying to get over a cold, but I wasn't able to film my Witchy Wednesday video yesterday because I was just so miserable, so I decided to bear through it and film this video for you guys today. And I just lost all train of thought. So yeah, if you guys want to hear my thoughts on the past lives theory, then keep on watching. Hey everyone, so I currently have my MacBook in front of me, and I'm going to be reading just a little phrase off of the Aetherius.org site. It says the Aetherius Society cooperating with the gods from space. So I am not claiming to have any of this information, my own information. It is off of this website. I mean, I do have some theories and some ideas that just have popped into my head or that I have read about on other sites, but this specific little quote that I'm going to read is from this site. So it says, "We all have past lives. There's no such thing as a new soul. All of us have been reincarnating for millions of years, and in truth, there is no death, only that of the body." So I 100% believe in past lives. I am a very spiritual person when it comes to stuff like that, and I have always been really into that kind of stuff. So that sentence to me is really truthful, and I've tried to explain this to a lot of people throughout my spiritual journey, and some believe it and some don't, and that's okay if you don't. But basically my thoughts behind it are that all the souls, we all have souls, but all the souls are kind of, I don't know where they are, I haven't really gotten that far yet, but they are pretty much just waiting to be born into a body, and when they are, they live that lifespan out, and then they go back where they came from, and then they are waiting to be reincarnated again. And I believe that when you're first born, you remember your past lives. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's been any like scientific studies on like a baby's brain about past lives. So I guess, I mean, we wouldn't really know if and what they remember. If there is, you know, if you do believe in the past life theory, then we don't really know what babies actually remember when they are born into the world again. So my theory behind it is when they are born, they remember everything. They, you know, I think they're a lot smarter than a lot of people think they are. And there has actually been, I don't know how many kids, but there have actually been kids, there's videos about it on YouTube, that have reached out to their parents and said, you know, you guys aren't my parents, my real parents live here, and they have actually, a couple of them have been able to go across the country and show their parents of this lifetime where their other parents are at and where their other family's at. Some of them have even been a husband, and the people there have validated, yes, this child is who they say they are. So, I mean, that to me, that's not a coincidence. Like, I don't think a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old could be like, hey, I'm actually this person, and then tell you an exact location to go to in a different country that they don't even really know about yet, and be able to be like, hey, I'm this person, this is where I lived, this is who I lived with, this was my name, and then they actually go there and they validate everything, and they're like, yeah, no, she or he is telling the truth. Like, I fully believe that is, you know, the soul of my reincarnated wife or daughter or husband. And so to me, that's really fascinating. Little like funny fact, my daughter, when she was 2, she used to tell me and my fiance almost like daily, if not like multiple times a day, you guys aren't my real parents are black. And I mean, she was at the age where she didn't understand, like, you know, different skin colors and stuff like that. Like, she's never, like, pointed out, like, people with other skin colors and been like, Mom, why are they a different color? Like, she was never really, like, that cohesive, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the right word. But just out of nowhere, she was just like, hey, you guys aren't my real parents. And we were just kind of like, what? And that's before I kind of was, like, really, really into this kind of stuff. I mean, I did have the knowledge behind it, and I did obviously still think about past lives. But when she told me, it didn't, like, click that, like, oh, maybe she's remembering her past life. And, I mean, there could be a bunch of reasons why she said that. She could have just watched, you know, Doc McStuffins, and Doc McStuffin, her parents are obviously black, so she might have been like, hey, those are actually my parents. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, and like looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have asked her more questions, because now when you ask her, she's just kind of like, no, what are you talking about? But I do believe that when you're born, like I said, I think you have all knowledge of your past lives, and as you get older and older, like us, we don't really remember any of that kind of stuff, but I think that if you tried to do it maybe in the state of meditation or anything like that, I think you could actually remember it. I say and like a lot, and I'm sorry, but so this little thing right here that I'm going to read, it's from the same site, it's from aetherius.org. It says, why can't we remember our past lives? It says, all knowledge is stored deep in our subconscious mind, but because we have not sufficiently developed our brain, we are only able to access a very small part of our memory, which is true. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's around like 20%. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure the human only uses like 20% of their brain or something like that. And if we were able to access the full potential of our brain, we could do, I mean, crazy things. Like, we would be able to remember crazy things, and I mean, possibly be able to do a lot more things that a lot of people think are impossible or fake or anything like that. But anyways, it says, however, this can be taken partly as a blessing in disguise and allows us to start each new life seemingly afresh. Imagine, for example, if you had a past life memory of doing something very bad, you would then have to cope with the guilt of that act in this life. Imagine if you remembered being very rich and powerful in a previous life, you would find it all the more difficult to adapt to a more modest way of living. Imagine if you have passed away in your 40s in your last life, then as a teenager in your next life, could recognize your former wife who is still incarnate. Sorry if you guys hear my baby. She does not want to, she wants to come in here with me, and Nate is trying to keep her in with him, so I can film this. So, kind of like I was saying earlier about people remembering their past lives, I do think it is possible for certain people to remember their past lives. I have actually had dreams that I personally think were kind of like memories of my past life. Probably not everybody would agree with me on that, because like I said, there is a lot of people that don't believe in this kind of stuff, and that's fine. But for me personally, I'm a very spiritual person, and I have grown my spirituality throughout this last year a lot, and I have studied a lot, and you know, practiced a lot of like spiritual things like that, and so I am a lot more in tune than a lot of people, I guess you could say. So I fully believe that I have had little memory recurrences of past lives and stuff like that. So I do think that you could remember it. It just depends on how spiritual you are, how psychic you are, stuff like that. There are actually people who can tell you what your past life was and who you were and what kind of person you are, and they're a very top level, very spiritual kind of people, and they can remember their past lives as well as other people's and kind of give you an insight. So if you are kind of interested, I recommend, you know, just Googling people that can do that. There's probably a lot of people in your area. There at least has to be one person semi-close to you that is able to tell you stuff like that. you can get connected with your spiritual side and you can practice. I mean, it will probably take a while to be able to access that memory in that area of your brain to be able to actually remember your past lives, but it is definitely possible. A lot of things, or a couple things you could do is really practice on meditating, practice on breathing, and you can do dynamic prayer. There's a couple different things that you can do to awaken your more spiritual side, and you can have past life remembrances yourself and be able to, dig deeper into who you used to be and stuff like that. So I think it's really a cool thing to learn about and to be able to know about, and just to be able to think our souls are so old. We've been living and living and living and living, and I mean, I think it's just the way of life. And every life is a new life. You start as somebody else. I mean, maybe you were rich in your past life and you're poor in this life. You're rich in this life, you're poor in your other life. I truly think that you kind of get a walk on all sides of earth throughout the entire, universe and the entire time your soul is alive. So, I don't know when it all started, when it began. That's a whole nother video that I'm going to get into. But, I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of incorporate into the past life scenario. And, like I said, I think that we do remember it when we're very first born and, up until the age of 2, maybe 3. But then, as you start getting older, society kind of brainwashes you, and you're not able to remember everything, and your brain, that part of your brain just kind of shuts off and makes way for, the new technology, the new information of this life, and your old life is kind of why remember it? Because, you're not living it anymore, you're living this new life, so you need the knowledge of this life. And, just like cartoons and TV shows and everything like that, it's brainwashing us. It really is. Technology, everything like that, it's just a way to, brainwash you and control you. And so, I mean, what better way than to pretty much wipe your memory of your old life than to throw in, just jam-pack a ton of information into your brain, and your brain's like, oh, I can't take all of this, so I'm going to throw this part out. And so, I mean, if you think about it, it is, like I said, it's just a crazy thing to think about, and it's really, I love thinking about stuff like this because it's just a passion of mine, and that's why I wanted to incorporate it in my channel, because I'm just really passionate about stuff like this, and it's just something fun to do and look forward to, learning about something new. I try to learn about something new every single day, and I try to do something that scares me every single day. And I mean, learning about new conspiracy theories are just really exciting to me. And I mean, even if I don't believe all of them, it's still kind of just exciting to look them up and kind of, decide for myself and kind of find my own facts and my own information about it and see what I believe and what I don't believe. And these are definitely one of the ones out of many that I do believe are 100% true. There probably are some factors about it that aren't true. I know there is a theory that a birthmark is where you were killed in your past life, and not everybody has birthmarks, which my theory on that is maybe you weren't killed in your past life, maybe you died a natural death. But at the same time, I have a birthmark on my calf, and I don't really know how I would die from being shot or stabbed in my calf. So, I mean, maybe you could from loss of blood. I don't know. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. But my daughter has a really big, what is it called? A hemangioma, or it's something like hemangioma or something like that. But it's about this big. It's a big birthmark on her back. They call it the strawberry mark. And when she was first born, she was so tiny. She was only 4 pounds. And it took up a good portion of her back. Her back was just a little baby back. And then her birthmark was huge. and now that she's getting older, it's starting to fade. I mean, it's still very noticeable. It's still pretty red, but it was like bright red before, and now it's kind of like a dark red, and it's still raised from the skin, but it's probably the same size, but she's just gotten bigger, so it looks a lot smaller now. But I mean, that, you know, that could be a way that she was killed in her past life. You know, I mean, I don't know that, but that is a theory that people kind of talk about a lot. There's also, from the same site, there's also a past life as animals. This says that this site doesn't believe that humans reincarnate as animals or vice versa, which I think could definitely be possible. I mean, we are all souls and we all have the same energy and stuff like that. So I think that it could definitely be possible, but I haven't looked into that, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But yeah, that is pretty much it for my video today. I hope I kind of opened your guys' mind to something new, or if you already knew about this, I hope I was able to kind of teach you a little bit. I definitely recommend you guys look at this site. I will try and link the website in the description box of the video. If I'm not able to, it's called the Aetherius Society. It's just aetherius.org, and it has a lot of cool stuff about karma and reincarnation, life after death, and past lives. And it's a really interesting read. I did read all of it. There's some things as past life as extraterrestrials, past lives in spirit guides, past lives in Lemuria and Atlantis, past life as animals, how to remember your past lives, famous past life obsession. So yeah, it has a lot of really good knowledge on it, and I definitely recommend that you guys give that a read. And make sure to let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe to my channel. Give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys tomorrow for my fashion video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm going to repeat myself, but I will see you.